Join us over the next few weeks as we follow the route of the stunning Northumberland 250. Part is Maelmin
Henge.
But before we do Maelmin Henge, we've got RAF Milfield, training units and aircraft. So this was a training airfield. The first training unit to arrive at RAF Milfield was 59 OTU, the operational training unit from RAF Crosby at Eden in Cumbria in 1942.
And the airfield's still in use by gliders, isn't it? There's a glider club over there.
Yes, yeah, because we saw the windsock, didn't we, as we came in. This unit came with old aircraft that already served in the Battle of Britain and were prone to malfunction. The early courses contained students from the Commonwealth, particularly Canada, together with pilots from the US and occupied Europe, and all had undertaken their initial pilot training in their home nations, but most of them were inexperienced. In 1944, when the Allied invasion of Europe was imminent, the need for specialised and dedicated air-to-ground training became apparent. A fighter leaders school was therefore formed in January 1944 for the development of tactics for the effective use of air-to-ground rockets on Typhoon aircraft. And RAF Milfield was one of only 2 facilities in the UK selected for this task. The training was dangerous, but for those who passed through safely, they faced more danger flying low and drawing intense anti-aircraft and small arms fire. These men played a vital role in destroying enemy armour formations and disrupting supply lines, which permitted the advance of Allied forces after the D-Day landings. It's quite an important airfield then.
Yes. And those that lost their lives at this facility.
Men and women. 2 lists, one for the Royal Air Force and one for the Royal Canadian Air Force. The men and women who served here came from diverse backgrounds and from many different nations to contribute to the defeat of the Axis forces in Europe, Africa and the Pacific.
This is Maelmin, the rich in archaeology, dating back 10,000 years.
And there's a short walk around that you've done, haven't you, with information boards telling the story of human occupation from those early days through to the Dark Ages, the 6th century, when the fields surrounding here were home to the kings of Northumbria in the royal palace of Maelmin. It's a reconstructed henge, so it's not an original. And there is a guidebook that you can buy in some of the local shops.
They still haven't worked out one of these gates, have they?
They haven't, no.
I've walked around the area. It's a nice sort of walk through that wooded area at the back there, and then round along the fields, and there are posts and information boards all the way round about the life here.
So life on the move, Mesolithic 10,000 to 4,000 BC, in the period between the last ice age and the beginning of farming, is when hunter-gatherers were in this area.
But I've noticed signs around about the Bronze Age, the Iron Age.
Yeah, right through.
All the way through, yeah. And the first farmers. This is the henge. As Darryl said, it's a reconstruction. Henge builders during the late Neolithic and early Bronze Age, which is 3000 to 1500 BC. Important changes in the way people thought about the world took place. This is indicated by the widespread construction of new types of ceremonial monuments, including stone circles, standing stones, henges, pit alignments and burial cairns.
Which created a ritual landscape. This reconstruction is based on the ground plan of the Milfield North Henge, which is situated next to the barn, which is in the distance on our right, so as Keith's pointing the camera now.
Over there somewhere.
Another henge is located less than 100 metres away on the other side of the main road in a cultivated field. There are at least 7 henges in the Till Valley, which we're in, and 3 other related sites. Bay's happy because she's climbing. By comparison to the rest of the UK, Northumberland has a climate that's relatively dry, cool and sunny. And this is particularly true of the Milfield Plain, since it's protected from rain-bearing westerly winds from the Cheviot Hills. Annual rainfall in this valley is about 650 millimetres compared to 950 millimetres on the hilltops to the west. This is almost moat-like, isn't it?
It is, yes. I hope they leave proper records that this is a reconstruction.
Yes, because otherwise in the future
people discover this and say, oh, they built a henge here, and we'll date the trees.
Yes.
And, oh, they were doing that in the 2000s.
So it is almost like a moat with two entrances, because this is like an entrance, isn't it? Another one there.
I think that's part of the henge, isn't it? It is. Most of them are moated.
What do you think, Nab? Get down, good boy. What do you think? You like it? Impressive sights though. And over there you can see the airfield. I think the dogs are excited to be out and it's not actually raining. So we've come to a barn. Well,
Again, it's a reconstruction
of a Dark Age house. It's a full-scale reconstruction of one of the 3 Dark Age AD 410-550 houses excavated at Tarmack's Cheviot Quarry, which again is nearby. It's measured 7 metres long by 3.25 metres wide with 7 pairs of opposed posts which average 2 metres across.
You can get in.
It's a bit stiff, is it? A little bit dark in here. Somebody's left rubbish, of course. Take that with us. This house, go on, sorry.
This house probably have been the home of a farmer and his immediate family. It's nicely built, isn't it?
It is, isn't it? I mean, it's an accurate reconstruction. It's a lot taller than I would have imagined.
Yeah,
It would have been. Let's just grab this rubbish. You have to ask why again. Somebody like their Doritos, but not enough to take the packet with them. Well, this picture shows the excavated site at the Cheviot Quarry. The holes for the timber posts are clearly visible. Inside the house was a large pit which contained burnt domestic debris, including broken pottery. I know we always say it, but you have to ask why. They can carry it with them, but they can't take it when it's lighter home. Carry on walking around this. Towards the airfield. Although Anglian mercenaries had settled in small numbers during the 5th century, it wasn't until the Anglian leader Ida landed at Bamberg in 547 AD that the British kingdom of Brech fell under the sway of Anglian kings to become Bernicia, which we've heard about before, haven't we?
Yeah.
From a fortress at Bamberg to the pagan Angles gradually extended their power from the Northumberland coast inland to the Milfield basin and beyond. And you're going to laugh when I try this one. Around 593, Ida's grandson Aethelfrith became king, and in a series of campaigns defeated British, Scots, Irish and Pict forces, and in 604 occupied York to create the Kingdom of Northumbria. I know no matter what part of Britain you go to, there's ancient history, but Northumbria seems really, really rich in it, doesn't it?
It does. I suppose it's because the invading Vikings from the east. It's that sort of coast and
Yeah.
the Anglo-Saxons. Just the way the geography is.
Yes. It's certainly been an interesting trip so far, with history from right throughout the centuries, hasn't it?
Yeah.
That's about a view of the airfield. I can see some gliders on the ground. A bit breezy for a flying today, I guess. I do, but I'm not sure. I do, they do, but I'm not sure about taking off. A little bit more about the airfield, RAF Milfield. Military aviation history of the Milfield Basin began in the Great War of 1914 to 18, when 77 Squadron of Edinburgh chose a field at Woodbridge as its landing and refuelling site for their patrols of southern Scotland. This began in 1917 and the site fell out of use after 1919. Interesting site with two pieces of history. But now it's time to move on. Today we're hoping to go to the end of a long distance trail and a royal palace. What's happening to us though?
I don't know.
I mean, we were in bed at 8:30 last night.
We're getting real old couple, aren't we?
And then it was about
Right, it's cool.
8:15 when we got up.
8, yeah.
I mean, you had to go up to let the dogs out and take them for a quick walk, hadn't you? But I mean, most nights the latest we've been getting to bed is 9 p.m, isn't it?
I mean, it's dark, isn't it?
Yeah. But as you know, we don't have a telly or anything because we don't really want to have a telly in the van. So quite often we just sit in silence, don't we? We've always said that we're very lucky. We don't feel the need to talk and make conversation just for the
We're
sake
happy
of
in
it.
our own company, aren't we?
And each other's.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
But yeah. So, and this one has always told us at 10 p.m. it's bedtime, but he's actually getting worse as well. It's saying, "Come on, it's bedtime now. I want to go to sleep." Yeah. Yes. I'm getting 12 hours sleep sometimes.
Well, That's the River Till, the River Till, isn't it? I think it's around here. It's certainly flooded. We've had some water, had some rain.
I've seen so many fields over the last few minutes, and we've been driving along that are just lakes, aren't they, at the moment?
You can see the river is just down there somewhere, and all this is just a field. It looks like a horse track race. They've got hurdles in it, so that's all underwater at the moment. It seems to be washing in over there, so it's still rising.
It'll carry on rising as well, won't it, for a few
will.
days yet? Long, and we saw this. This is Ardgeffrin. There's a big monument here. At this place was Gefrin, royal township of the 7th century Anglo-Saxon kings of Northumbria. Here the missionary Paulinus in AD 627 instructed the people in Christianity for 36 days and baptised them in the River Glen, which is close by. For over 5,000 years people have been drawn to this prominent plateau of sand and gravel. They came for religious ceremonies, to bury their dead and meet their rulers. Early farmers built a temple and buried here, as did the earliest workers of bronze 1,000 years after them. During the Iron Age and Romano-British period, the ridge lay under the shadows of Yeavering Bell, the greatest of Northumberland's hill forts. Once, when Paulinus came to the king and queen in their royal palace called Ardgeffrin, he spent 36 days there, occupied in the task of preaching and baptising. This palace was left deserted in the time of the kings who followed Edwin, and another was built instead in a place called Maelmin. For a century, this field was a stage for some of the most momentous events in early Northern English history. It was a scene of widespread conversions to Christianity by Bishop Paulinus from Italy. It also became the temporary home of some of the greatest kings and queens of the day. Aethelfrith, Edwin and Athelbach, the saintly Oswald and his younger brother Oswy, and twice it was fiercely attacked and destroyed by the British king Cadwallon and all the Mercian Penda. From the close of the 7th century AD, all physical trace of the Anglo-Saxon palace, once an imposing presence, faded away. The site of Bede's Ardgeffrin was lost until it was rediscovered through aerial photography in 1949. Wow. Great thing about drones as well these days is a lot of people are discovering stuff from flying drones. Especially when it's really dry weather. It's a murky day today. We weren't actually heading down this road. There was a geocache that we thought we might go and find. So we pulled onto it. And this is what we found. We can't get to the cache.
The river's on that side of the road.
Burst its banks.
And it's flowing quite steadily, isn't it?
It is.
It's the River Beaumont, or Beaumont Water.
And that's just flowing into a farmer's field. And way over in the distance you can see it flowing again way further down the road.
Yes. I mean, it doesn't look that deep from here, but
I
imagine it will be.
It's going to be. It's not one to drive the van through anyway,
No.
Is it?
Not for a geocache, I'm afraid.
And that's the rain that the UK has been contending with for the last few days. It's done this.
Storm Babette, was it?
Babette, yes. High winds and heavy rain. And from what I've read, the Met Office have actually said it's been really unprecedented weather.
We seem to have missed most of it, don't we?
We do. There's been something quite a lot of problems further north, haven't there? And further south. But we seem to have been in the eye of the storm quite a bit. And people have died. In Derbyshire, not too far from the caravan, some people had to be rescued from the roof of their car. Now we've got to turn around. Certainly blown the leaves down, hasn't it, the last few days?
Yeah.